Welcome to the Distilled Insights for Busy Professionals video series, where we turn complex data and AI topics into clear, actionable ideas in just a few focused minutes. In this episode, we look at how existing AI regulations influence the way organizations design and integrate their data and AI governance frameworks. Many of you are now trying to interpret new AI rules, map them to your data landscape, and still keep business value and innovation moving forward. Let's briefly explore the main regulatory approaches and see what they mean for your governance model. This will lay the foundation for the next episodes in this mini-series. So far, we've seen that organizations choose different levels of data and AI governance integration based on strategy, risk, culture, and what they can realistically support and achieve. In the last episode, we walked through the key steps that help define the integration level, from understanding business priorities to evaluating capabilities and compliance approaches. In this episode, we will zoom in one of those steps, AI regulations, and explore how they influence your integration decisions in practice. To understand the current regulatory landscape, this study analyzes AI-related regulations using 5 dimensions: the issuing body, scope, legal status, definition of an AI system, and the compliance approach. This analysis reflects information available as of September 2025, and in this episode, we focus on the first 3 dimensions. When we look at who issues AI regulations, two main groups shape the landscape: international organizations and national governments. International bodies such as the European Union, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the United Nations, the Council of Europe, and the African Union publish instruments that range from binding laws to voluntary policy recommendations. Some, like the European Union AI Act, create legally enforceable obligations with extraterritorial impact, while others promote global alignment without imposing direct legal requirements. This mix of mandatory and voluntary guidance means organizations often need to navigate both strict rules and broader ethical expectations at the same time. National governments add another layer of complexity by developing their own AI regulations with different scopes, legal force, and definitions of AI systems. Together, these international and national instruments create overlapping and sometimes conflicting compliance obligations. Understanding how these sources interact is key to design a governance framework that remains coherent across jurisdictions. When we look at how authorities structure their AI regulations, we see that some prefer a single comprehensive regulation, while others rely on multiple documents to cover different aspects of governance. These instruments may address topics like data protection, risk classification, model oversight, or ethical principles, each adding another layer to the regulatory picture. The analysis shows a fairly balanced pattern. International organizations split between one unified regulation and several complementary instruments. National governments follow a similar trend, with many issuing one main regulation, while others publish multiple documents to guide different parts of the AI lifecycle. For organizations operating across borders, this variation creates additional complexity because they must interpret how these instruments relate to one another. In practice, this means navigating comprehensive laws alongside separate policy papers, sector-specific rules, and ethical guidelines. Understanding these structures helps organizations design governance approaches that remain coherent across all jurisdictions. When we look at AI regulations, one of the most important distinctions is whether a regulation is legally binding or voluntary. Legally binding regulations function as enforceable laws and organizations must comply with them or face penalties, sanctions, or other legal consequences. Voluntary regulations work very differently. They provide guidance, recommended practices, or ethical direction, but do not create mandatory obligations. Both types shape how governance frameworks are designed because they reflect different expectations around accountability and enforcement. The current landscape shows that only a portion of international regulations are binding, while most national regulations tend to operate without full legal force. This mix means organizations must carefully decide which instruments they are legally required to follow and which ones they adopt to demonstrate responsible practice. Understanding this balance helps organizations avoid unnecessary compliance effort while still maintaining a strong governance posture. As we close this episode, I invite you to take a closer look at the regulatory landscape shaping your AI initiatives. You should start by examining which international bodies and national government influence your operations and how their regulations interact. Then you should reflect on the legal status of these instruments so you can distinguish between what is mandatory and what is simply good practice. After that, you should review the scope and structure of regulations you rely on because different formats may require different governance responses. And if you want practical guidance on navigating these choices, my book Aligning Data and AI Governance walks you step by step through the whole integration decision path. You can download several free chapters of my book using this QR code. I also invite you to join my new LinkedIn Live Talks, which will take place on 27th of November. In the next episode, we will review the different approaches to defining an AI system.